Hello everyone, Andrew from Shielded Labs here, and welcome to another Crosslink update. We unfortunately don't have Sam today as he's not feeling well, so you'll have to make do with just me. Since the last Arborist call, we had a workshop in which we learnt quite a lot about the UX for onboarding finalizers, and we're now at the point where we can just run the executable without doing any config, and it'll join the existing testnet. It'll gradually get up to sync, and we can see here that we're now getting both proof of work and proof of stake blocks. So it's worth noting that the roster management is occurring on the proof of work side. Very temporarily, this is stored in the proof of work block headers. Now this has a couple of implications. One, the fact that it's now in the proof of work chain means that anyone running internal miner can get themselves into the roster without any manual intervention from the Shielded Labs team. So this is exciting. The downside of the fact that it's in the header as opposed to in a transaction is that if it were in transactions, it would be being shared in the mempool, which is very low latency, and everyone would know about it very quickly. The fact that it's in a header means that it is relying on block sync, which is slightly higher latency, and it means that you kind of end up with you may end up with a side chain locally of the blocks you've mined, which then don't get transferred over to everyone else, and you have to keep resubmitting your roster request until you actually get on. This is interesting for testing purposes, having all these side chains, but is obviously not the end goal for production. So we can see we've got our roster being updated, and as we finalize new blocks, both the members of the roster accumulate new stake, and also we get new additions to the roster. Currently, we have a kind of insecure username thing going on where you can add yourself with a human readable name, but this obviously is not the production intent. That'll just be a public key. So rather than waiting for this to fully sync, I'm going to quit and run a reg test version just to demonstrate a couple of things. So the roster model is not one where you have to completely register. You have to register as a finalizer, and then people stake to you. We have a model where by staking to an address, what will be a public address, or is currently a username, you implicitly create the roster member. So we started with myself as a roster member, and we can add some stake. So if we submit this command, then fairly shortly a proof of work block will be generated with this. Let's see, give it a sec. And you can see I started with one stake. This is a kind of fairly arbitrary number, and once a block was finalized, we get 6,000 total reward, again, completely arbitrary number per block. And then this gets distributed between the members of the roster by stake. And we can see, where was it? Somewhere around here. Yeah, this command added a bunch of stake to myself, and we now have a bunch more stake here. This interface is available both in the GUI and also via the command line, and it's worth. I'll show here that we can add stake to any arbitrary person or address or node, and they will become, once they get added and finalized, let's see, it'll be somewhere around here. Here we go. Once this gets finalized, we will see Billy get added to the roster. Here we go. And is accumulating stake relative to their position in the roster. And now, we have a workshop coming up next Wednesday on the 22nd. So if you can join us for that, then you get to play with everything I've just shown here. And if all going well, we may also have an extra surprise to show you. Until then, I will see you all later. Take care, everyone. Okay, quick addendum I just forgot to add. So I've just shown off the add commands. We also have a few different ones. So we can remove stake from any individual. Let's see. Remove 1,000 from Billy. And we can also, so this is kind of from the proof of stake point of view, this is equivalent to unstaking your position. And then we also have the notion of moving, i.e. redelegating your stake from one person to another. Now, you'll notice that as we set a command here, and then by the time it actually gets injected, more blocks have been finalized, and so the stakes are different from they were when we set the command. And so just to make life easier, we have this kind of notion of a clear, which sets the source individual to the value rather than changing them by that value. So if I do this kind of move clear from Billy to me, setting Billy to 0, then we will eventually, once that is added and finalized, Billy will end up with no stake, and I will end up with all the stake, and from that point Billy won't be getting any more rewards. One moment, nearly there. And we should be able to see our previous move went through. Okay, yeah, there we go. Billy now on 0, and me with the entire stake. All right, with that, that's the actual end, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.